UW360 is proudly supported by BECU, a not-for-profit member-owned credit union. Pacific Office Automation, copy, print, workflow, and IT. Problem solved.
Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn Douglas. Welcome to UW360 and welcome to the Henry Art Gallery on the UW campus. The Henry's mission includes the preservation of artistic works, both as a resource for scholars and for the public to enjoy. You'll get a closer look at this exhibit behind me a little later during our program. Also in this episode of 360, we head to wine country to visit a couple of Washington's world-class wineries. We meet a brilliant young scientist who's doing some really exciting research. And we get the story behind the spectacular costumes at the UW Drama School. Plus, a rare collection of some really weird fish. First, though, we follow Seattle police officer and author Neil Lowe through tales of murder and mayhem.
This area was all sawdust and tide flats from Yesler's Mill.
Seattle's history is often colorful, but not always pretty. Seattle police veteran Neil Lowe knows that better than most, and he likes telling people about it.
Right across the street, kitty corner from there, was a high-end brothel, Lou Graham's brothel, and she died of a sexually transmitted disease at about 40.
When not fighting crime, Neil is writing about it. His murder mystery novels are a mix of history and personal experience.
So you write about what you know, and I intertwined real stories or anecdotes that happened to me to flesh out this story, but I tie it in with a murder mystery. This is my academy class graduation picture.
Neil started his police career almost by accident. He was looking for a summer job to help pay for community college, and he ended up in the Seattle Police Department's cadet program. After 25 years or so in law enforcement,
Thank you much.
He felt that he needed a bachelor's degree to be promoted to captain. At 53, he earned that degree from UW Bothell.
Well, that's me graduating from UW Bothell.
During that time, he was inspired by two professors to develop his talent for storytelling.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite hangout.
Neil wrote his first book here on the second floor of the UW Bothell Library.
This whole creative writing thing just, it more than met my expectations. But you don't learn everything you need to know from that class. It's a continuing education process. I can tell you of the half dozen or more, well, it's more than that, books that I've read on the writing process and creating characters and creating conflict and suspense and all that. But I learned how to do that here at the UW. I learned how to teach myself how to do that, and that's why my writing keeps better and the reviews keep getting better. My most current novel, he is the driving force behind that.
Research for novels turned up some fascinating stories of crime, corruption, murder, and mayhem in Seattle's past.
Welcome, I'm glad you're here. I'm Neil Lowe, I'm your tour guide.
So in addition to being a police officer and a writer, Neil now leads murder mystery tours through Pioneer Square, starting at the Seattle Police Museum.
We're getting closer to the picture I wanted to point out.
For example, there's the story of Chief William Meredith, who was asked to resign from the force in 1901.
He was accused of impregnating a contortionist who worked in the Tenderloin area at one of the places that he was trying to shake down for money.
The tours attract anyone who's interested in the more lurid parts of Seattle history. Some of the stories are fairly recent.
June 1st, 1981, two cannery union workers were trying to reform the union, and they were gunned down in this very building by three others.
Besides stories of lust, larceny, and lynchings, the tour includes one of Neil's books. He's working on his fourth mystery now, in his fifth decade as a police officer. And by the way, he did get that promotion to captain.
I'm having a really good time, but I enjoy what I do. It's good being the boss.
Neil Lowe is hoping to release his fifth novel, Theater of the Crime, early next fall. You can find out more about his books and his tours on our website, uwtv.org/UW360. And coming up next, we head to Washington wine country as UW360 continues. Welcome back, everyone. Since the Henry Art Gallery was founded in 1927, its exhibitions of contemporary and modern art have attracted international attention. This is part of the Henry's permanent collection of West Coast ceramics from the 1960s and 70s. And as you can see, this particular display is focused on food. Which makes us crave the perfect glass of wine to go with it. Which is why we're now heading off to Eastern Washington for a closer look at some of our state's great wineries.
Angela Jacobs was waiting tables in a Bellevue restaurant when she discovered something really interesting.
We were required to know the wine list, and so we'd have reps come in who would taste us on wine. The bartender at the time was working up at Columbia Winery doing an apprenticeship, and I was just like, you can make wine?
She made her first batch of Pinot Noir in 2001.
Put the grape skins in there and let it go.
And she was hooked on winemaking. But at that point, it was only a hobby. She had college to finish and a different career path in mind.
So I went to the University of Washington for the express purpose of studying sciences, and kind of got funneled into chemistry, and the backup plan was pre-med. My grandfather wanted me to be a doctor, but I also knew that went really well with learning anything I needed to know about making wine.
After graduation, the call of winemaking couldn't be ignored. Angela spent a few years working for wineries in California, Oregon, and New Zealand, then returned to Washington and began making her own wine on a very small scale.
I was making it in a basement where I lived, where the temperature was 60 degrees, so it actually worked out really well.
Fast forward through an MBA at UW's Foster School, where Angela learned business skills to combine with her science background. Today, she's living her dream at Wine Girl Wines, her nano winery near Lake Chelan.
Well, no, I just sort of thought it would be everything I wanted out of life. It would be the creativity, the art, the science. It would be just, I could design my own labels, which I thought was amazing. I could, live out in the farm area and grow my own food. I was really into that.
Angela is one of a growing number of young people whose passion for the wine business is contributing real dollars to the economy of Washington State.
Washington wine industry is an incredibly dynamic environment right now. The industry has doubled in size in just the past 5 years.
There are over 700 wineries in Washington, making it the nation's second largest premium wine producer. Between wine sales, wages paid, and wine tourism, the industry has an annual economic impact of $3 billion within the state and another $1.7 billion nationally. But for many winemakers, the business is about more than money.
I think most people choose it for the makeup of the lifestyle itself. It's a very passionate industry.
Well, the wine industry is great because it celebrates a lot of the fun parts of life. You get to celebrate food, you get to celebrate wine, you get to celebrate art, and they're all kind of interlinked.
10 years ago, John Blair's parents became involved with the Dunham family's wine business.
And one of the things I really love about wine is that it's got a nice balance of farming where you get to get your hands dirty during the day and you're out in the soil, and then at the end of the day you can clean up, dress up, and you have this amazing, beautiful product to enjoy at the end of the day.
In that time, Dunham Cellars grew from a 200 case per year winery to almost 20,000 cases a year.
There was a huge growth in the wine industry here in Walla Walla, and I got to witness that firsthand. And it always kind of played back and forth in my mind that I might one day end up in the business.
The retail and wholesale sales.
That day is coming soon, as the senior Dunhams and Blairs think about retirement.
Thank you.
When it's ready, and that's when you put it to bottle. But
While Eric Dunham is the artist behind the wines, John is focused on growth. He's learning about winemaking while working toward a master's degree in business at the UW. Together, they have big plans.
We've got a good brand, so I think there's some pretty exciting growth prospects here, not only in the US, but also internationally. So my vision for the company is kind of taking this great foundation that's been established and going out and projecting that to other parts of the world.
If you'd like to know more about those wineries or about the Washington wine business, you'll find links on our website. And stay with us. We'll be right back with some great ways to save energy and protect your health. Welcome back to UW360. UW Professor Shwetak Patel is a MacArthur Foundation Fellows Program recipient, an honor that's often called the Genius Grant. And a visit to Patel's lab shows us that genius in action.
He wrote his first computer program around the age of 6. In graduate school, he licensed technology from the University of Washington and used it to start a company. And in 2011, he was honored with the MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant. His name is Shwetak Patel, and he's not yet 30 years old.
One of the things that really drives me is, at the end of the day, I like to have fun. And if I'm not having fun, it's not what I want to do.
Shwetak heads up the Ubiquitous Computing Research Lab on the UW campus. Known as UbiComp, the lab is a mashup of computer science and electrical engineering with a little mechanical engineering, material science, and other disciplines thrown in for good measure.
The goal of what we do is really looking at how computing technology and computer science and electrical engineering can play a role in solving really important problems like energy and health. I just can't believe this one is so noisy. Look how broadband that thing is.
The lab's work is a reflection of Shwetak's personal philosophy and out-of-the-box thinking. That means the research here has real-life applications, and it takes advantage of systems and devices that are readily available.
Okay, breathe in. Keep on breathing in. Yeah.
In development is a program for people who need to monitor lung capacity. To augment an expensive and bulky medical monitoring device, the lab is figuring out how to use the microphone and computing power of a cell phone.
One of the philosophies is leverage the existing infrastructure out there, right? One thing is the already ubiquitous mobile phone, right? So one project we're working on is using the mobile phone as a health sensor. You can't really come up with new solutions unless you try to attack the problem from a different angle.
Another line of research is designing a sensing system to monitor energy and water use in a home.
What we've been doing is looking at ways that we can make devices that are easy to deploy and that give you a lot of information about how much energy you're consuming so people can make better decisions about that.
It turns out each water fixture and every appliance in a home produces noise at predictable frequencies.
So when the complex fluorescent light bulb turns on, it occupies this particular frequency band.
Armed with this knowledge, the UbiComp team developed a sensor system and computer interface that's elegantly simple. Plug an electrical sensor into any outlet, install a water sensor on a single faucet, then use a computer program to interpret the resulting frequencies and display the transmitted information.
I think that kind of falls in line with the spirit of the work that we're doing, is taking advantage of these existing factors in the environment that you can get the signal from. And so the power line, the plumbing are all sources to get the signal. But it turns out the human body is actually a really nice broadband antenna between a certain frequency band.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you heard that right. In collaboration with Microsoft Research, the team is looking at reading and using the electromagnetic interference, or EMI, received by the human body to interact with computers. One day, Microsoft Kinect systems might not need a camera to follow gamers' movements.
The idea is you always have this EMI noise being radiated from the environment, and the body actually is picking this up. So can we figure out how we can detect different motion and gestures by just picking up the signal on the body?
While the UbiComp Lab's research can have commercial applications, some of their work might end up distributed through open sourcing or even nonprofit organizations. Shwetak's personal philosophy is to solve real problems and get those solutions into the hands of those who need them.
One of the things that we focus more on is looking at ways to have impact. How do you actually make these devices and technologies available to the general population and public? And at the same time, you're having fun doing it.
Yeah, there's 2 wires coming out.
If you'd like to see what else is going on at Shwetak Patel's UbiComp lab, just check out the link on our website. And up next, we take you behind the scenes at the UW Drama School's costume shop as UW 360 continues. Welcome back to UW 360 and to the Henry Art Gallery. These 1960s fashions are part of another permanent collection here, one that began with a gift of costumes from the UW Drama School. On stage and on screen, the role of costume designers is to capture a character in fabric, design, and detail. At the Drama School, they're also historians.
I have 6 storerooms. This one is the largest.
Josie Gardner is what you might call the ultimate clothes horse. She supervises the University School of Drama costume shop,
So show me which character this is going to be.
a place that helps bring stage characters to life.
In the top and the tank, you like?
I think so.
The costume shop dates back to 1935. It's one part classroom, one part sewing shop, and one part inspiration.
I want it to be like saturated realistic.
For students pursuing a master's in fine arts in the design program, this is where their visions come to life. Students learn how to design and manage wardrobes for productions. Then professional seamsters complete the costumes based on students' creativity.
This is what the students do as part of their classwork. And we have to figure out how to make this look like, turn around, that costume there. Okay.
As a staff member, Josie teaches classes and oversees costume budgets for university productions while keeping track of inventory. And for every character in every play, she helps outfit actors from head to toe.
Oh, the final box from Francis's estate.
But perhaps one of Josie's most satisfying jobs is to collect authentic clothing and accessories from the past.
That is hand sewed. All of that is crocheted and hand sewed in there. That's not machine done.
For this, the shop relies largely on donations such as these. These pieces are part of a collection from a 98-year-old University of Washington graduate who treasured and preserved everything from beaded handbags and evening gowns to early 1900s underwear.
This piece in particular is what we call a gay deceiver. This has a tag in it that was made in 1914. And what this does is it makes the monobosom design, but if you look inside, there's ruffles that actually do that. And this is the type of thing that my staff loves because it gives them an opportunity to see how these were really made and what it really looked like on a human body.
While certain donations will never be worn on stage, they are treasured for the creativity they spark.
And this might be the inspiration for an entire design.
If I wore them a little higher,
They'd be okay?
Yeah.
All right.
As for Josie, she has her own idea of inspiration, her students.
The energy they bring, the passion they bring, they go away for their internships and they work in New York and they come back to us and it's like to see that blossom. It's like, oh my gosh, what a joy.
So the next time you attend a university stage production, take a moment to enjoy the costumes. They're a detailed testament to talented students, dedicated staff, generous donors, and of course, what is possibly Seattle's largest walk-in closet.
Many of the costumes and period clothing donated over the years have been brought here to the Henry Art Gallery, where they're carefully preserved and occasionally displayed. Now next up, we take a look at a collection of a very different sort as UW 360 continues. Welcome back, everyone. In our final story today, student reporter Andrew Mittrack checks out something you definitely don't see every day, a really large and scientifically very valuable collection of preserved fish.
Since 1919, the University of Washington has been collecting and cataloging specimens of fish, eggs, and larvae. Millions of specimens, and one of the largest collections in the world. My first question for collections manager Catherine Meslenikov was, what is the university doing with all these dead fish?
We are a research collection, so that means we are here to help researchers all over the world. We have about 4,000 species here and 7.8 million individual specimens. The whole collection is cataloged, databased, and available on our website.
I'd never seen fish like these before.
So this is the anglerfish.
This species is Diceratius pilatus. This is the lure here. This is actually the dorsal fin, and it's been modified into this luring appendage, and so it will glow in the dark down there. There's bacteria that is inside the lure, and it glows in the dark, and they attract prey by dangling this thing around in front of their mouth.
So what is this one?
This is the world's only albino ratfish. Ratfishes are normally black with white spots, but this one is stark white. It's the only albino known in the world. Okay, so here's the freak show that we always like to show everyone.
Oh, man.
This is our two-headed spiny dogfish. So you can see it's kind of like a Siamese twin. It's got two heads but one body. That it's been here longer than anybody knows. There's nobody here who knows where this came from. It's just a mystery. We've kind of doubled the storage size of this room by having these moving shelves. So with 2 fingers, I can move hundreds of pounds, hundreds of jars.
All your specimens are inside of these jars?
Yes, so the adult specimens are on these big compactor shelves. There's about 300,000 adults in tanks and jars. We get to see some deep sea, crazy looking anglerfishes and viperfishes and such fun deep sea things that you wouldn't get to see anywhere else.
If you'd like to see those fish for yourself, just go to our website, uwtv.org/uw360, where you'll find links to information about all our stories and the Henry Art Gallery. And that's it for this edition of UW360. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with all news stories from the University of Washington.